All right, so thank you for tuning in to Chomping the Bit. I'm Kyle Edwards, of course. And on this episode, I'm going to talk about Week 3 in the NFL, preview each of the games that will be happening on Sunday, as well as the one matchup on Monday, go through, give you my picks for each game, preview the game as well, let you know what I'm looking for, and then, yeah, of course, give you who I think will cover against the spread. And once again, if you're not sure what that means, if you go on ESPN or Yahoo, any website that has a sports side to it, you will see matchups like Team A versus Team B, and you'll see one team has a minus a certain number, and then the other team has plus that same number. So when picking against the spread, I have to look at each matchup and decide what's more likely. If the team that's the favorite that has the minus next to their name, whatever the number is attached to that, they have to win by more than that number in order to cover. And then for the underdog team, which is the one with the plus, plus whatever, if they lose the game, have to lose by less than that number. Of course, if the team with the plus wins, they cover anyway. So with that in mind, go ahead, go through these matchups, and that's what I'm picking against. Not necessarily picking that team to win, but I'm picking that team to cover. And last week went 9-7. So through the first 2 weeks, I'm 17-15, which, that's good because I believe by this point last year I was below 500. So, I'll definitely take it for right now. And the same goal as last year. I want to be at 60% by the end of the year. And I'm also keeping track of how I do when picking underdogs, because so far I started off pretty well. 7-2 right now when I pick underdogs. So clearly those are the picks you should really pay attention to. And yeah, so it's another full slate. Last episode I already gave you my pick for from the Thursday night game, the Carolina Texans game, and then early in the week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, I will review all the picks and we'll go through and see which ones I got right, which ones I got wrong. Okay, so now with all that out of the way, let's go ahead, get through the rest of week 3. So the first game, week 3, actually, first I got to do the sounder, of course. So there you are. It's from a pick segment. So first game, Bills, Redskins. I said Redskins. Give me credit. I went through the first 2 weeks without saying that, but it's the Washington football team. There we go. So Bills and the football team. So coming into this matchup, the Bills are the favorite at -7. It was a line that did give me a little bit of hesitation, but I'm going with the Bills -7 in this matchup. Bills come into this game only giving up 11.5 points a game. Not expecting that to continue throughout the season, because a lot of that was a benefit of, blanking the Dolphins last week, 35-0. Even talking about it, I feel like I could be swayed the other way, but I'm sticking with Buffalo here. Buffalo's offense hasn't really clicked on all cylinders yet like it was last year. And, of course, the 35-0 game, maybe that gets them kick-started. And I think against a good Washington front, I think it might be a struggle early on for Buffalo, maybe even through the first half. But I think second half they'll, figure it out, put some points on the board, and I think they cover here. I think Josh Allen will have a pretty good game. Washington against the run, they're pretty good. I mean, they give up like 106 yards a game, which, it's not like elite, but it's pretty good. Then Washington on the other side, they're going with Taylor Heineke again. He did lead that comeback against the Giants, so he's got some momentum going right now. And he showed in that game the ability to push the ball downfield a little bit. And he took care of the ball as well. So, with that, I don't know if the Bills will be able to get pressure on him. That's going to be a key. And if their secondary can, cover Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin, who's the Washington stud wide receiver, definitely to make sure he doesn't get going. And if Buffalo can do that, then I think they'll cover the 7 here. But it will be tough, I will say that. This one, in terms of confidence in this one, I'm like, So, all right. Let's see the next game. We have the Bears and Cleveland Browns. So coming into this one, the Browns are a 7.5 point favorite. I'm actually going to go with the Bears on this one, and partly because the Bears, well, not that they finally made the move, they were kind of forced into starting Justin Fields, but I think he's going to bring a dynamic that will allow the Bears to keep this game close. And I think since it went to plus 7.5, so we're looking at more than a touchdown, I think Fields with his dual ability will be able to keep this game closer than that. And then for Cleveland, I believe they are still without Odell Beckham. Or is he back? He might actually be back this game. But as he's coming back, Jarvis Landry's now gone. And I think it's going to take a little bit for Odell to get, caught up to speed. So might see a little bit of struggle from Cleveland's offense in this game. For Baker Mayfield, he's probably going to have to rely on Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the running game. Probably a little more than usual. And when Mayfield does drop back to pass, I could see maybe Austin Hooper having a big game in terms of catches. And I wouldn't be surprised if Hooper gets into the end zone at least once in this game. But like I said, because of Fields' ability, throw and run, I think they keep it closer. So I'm going to take the Bears plus the 7.5. So I'm taking the underdog there. So pay attention to that one. And let's move ahead to the next game. So the Ravens going up against the Lions. The Ravens come to this game as a 7.5 point favorite. I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. I know the Lions had a good showing last week against the Packers, but this Ravens team is a little bit of a different animal, and I am interested to see if the Kansas City game will be the turning point in the Ravens season where this offense really takes off. Lamar Jackson does a little bit more through the passing game and a little less on relying on his legs to get him out of trouble. But I'm not, I know the Lions lost to Green Bay, and I know that they're kind of looking like a team that's probably going to go over and maybe really struggle. But I will say that Goff he's as advertised. He's not going to do anything spectacular, but he is pretty steady at quarterback. So this is another one where, I could see Detroit keeping it closer. And because of the 7.5, I could see it where Detroit maybe loses by 7. But I'm going to trust what I saw last week against Kansas City and think Baltimore's offense will be too much for Detroit. And Detroit's offense isn't really built to, score quickly. So if they get down by a couple of touchdowns, I think it's going to be a struggle for them to really make up that deficit. So would not be surprised if Baltimore wins by like 10. So picking them to cover in this one. Let's go ahead and jump to the next game. Got the Titans and the Colts. Titans going to this game as a 5.5 point favorite. I'm going to take the Titans on this one. I guess because, one, questions about Carson Wentz with the Colts. Believe he's scheduled to play. But I mean, he's coming off the game last week where he hurt both ankles, which I don't know how often that's happened. I swear that's like the first time I'm sure it's happened before, but for a quarterback to, hurt both ankles in a game, I can't honestly remember the last time I've seen that. So I'm assuming with 2 hurt ankles, he's going to be somewhat limited. And, for the Titans, it's going to be Derrick Henry, run-centric with, Tannehill playing off of that. But I do think that in this game, we may see a little bit more through the air from Tannehill and A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. And I just think with the questions with Wentz and the fact that they're 0-2 anyway, so the Colts have struggled and haven't played as well as a lot of people thought because they were seen as I think to some people they were seen as a lock as a playoff team, which I didn't buy into, but I think the Colts drop this one. They go 0-3, and I think between Derrick Henry's dominance so far this year, and I think Tannehill will look a little bit more like the quarterback from the playoffs. From late in the year and playoffs for them. So let me see. So take the Titans minus the 5.5. I feel like the closer we get to Sunday kickoff, the more confident I feel in this one. But I don't want to get too overconfident because who knows? Maybe Wentz isn't as hurt as I'm thinking he is with 2 hurt ankles, and he goes out there and he performs well. Because the Titans defense it's nothing stout. I mean, they're giving up 149 yards on the ground. And the Colts do have Jonathan Taylor and, what's his name? Nyheim Hines, Marlon Mack. So maybe with Wentz being hurt a little bit, they try to run the ball a little more. Maybe they play clock control. Maybe that allows them to keep it close, but I'm going to go with the Titans here, minus 5.5. Because I'll take the healthier quarterback. All right, next game. Chiefs and the Chargers. I got to say, this was another one that made me... That's making me sweat with my pick. I'm going with Kansas City, who comes in as the 7-point favorite. So Kansas City minus 7. I will say, like I said, I thought pretty heavily on going with the Chargers here because I think Herbert is due to have like a really, really good game. He's played pretty well so far through the first 2, but I think a week is coming where Herbert is just gonna, ball out and maybe be like a top quarterback for the week or something like that. He does have to limit turnovers because so far early in the season he has 3 interceptions. So you don't want to give Kansas City extra possessions, that's for sure. So if he can take care of the ball and run their offense the way it's supposed to, I think they can put up points. Only issue is Kansas City can do the same thing, but faster. And they are coming off that loss to Baltimore, so I'm sure Mahomes and Kelsey and those guys on offense are going to really want to get back to the winning ways and get their offense flowing again. And let's see, Chargers defense is a defense that you can throw on. So, I mean, with Kansas City and those weapons, that does spell like disaster for the Chargers. But because of her, and actually works the same way, the Chargers will be able to throw on Kansas City. So it could turn into a shootout. And a lot of times in these shootout games, the score is kind of like 3 to 6 point area. But I'm just going to say Kansas City finds a way to cover the 7. Maybe it's like an 8-point win for Kansas City. But like I said, give me the Chiefs -7 over the Chargers. Next game, we have the Patriots and the Saints. So quickly, those of you who are new, I'm a Patriots fan, so I've done even more digging into this matchup. But I'm going to go Patriots, who come into this game as a 3-point favorite. I'm going to take the Patriots here. The only thing that makes me hesitate on this one is which Saints team do we get? Because the Saints blew out Green Bay week 1, and Jameis Winston looked great. A lot of questions about how he was going to look being the starter. And from week 1, great. Then came week 2 against Carolina, and they looked like a mess. So if that team from last week, it's in New England. So yeah, so if they go up to New England playing that way, and this Patriots defense, especially like the secondary, they have some ball hawks back there with McCourty and J.C. Jackson. Was it Kyle Duggar? You know, those guys. I would not be surprised if they get a turnover or 2 out of Jameis Winston. And then Mac Jones has played pretty steady so far through the first 2 games. Would like to see them open up the playbook a little bit more, and then for him to continue to build confidence, to get to the point where he pushes the ball a little bit downfield, a little more. But, you know, he does take care of the ball, so that's going to keep him in Bill Belichick's good graces. But yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. And I think Mac Jones, let's see, last week he didn't get a touchdown pass. So I'm going to go Mac Jones gets a touchdown pass this game. And the defense, like I said, I think they get 2 interceptions out of New Orleans. Might be low scoring only because that's the way New England's offense is. When they do have scoring drives, it's usually long, 9, 10, 11 play drives with them moving down the field in little chunks instead of, one big play downfield and then a couple of intermediate plays and, like a quick little 4 or 5. No, Patriots don't do that. Long sustained drives, which means eating up the clock. So it could be low scoring, but I'm going to take New England -3 here. All right, next game we got Falcons and the Giants. It's another one that not really sure about. Let me see. So the Giants come into this game as a 2.5-point favorite. We have 2 0-2 teams here. So clearly one of them is going to get their first win. Unless, of course, we get a tie. And then, what a way that would be for these 2 teams. But either way, one of these teams is going to get their first win of the season. Another one I thought a lot about. I'm going to go Falcons here plus the 2.5. So that's the second underdog I'm taking. Reason why? I will say, before the 2 pick sixes thrown by Matt Ryan last week against Tampa Bay, we'll say the offense looked pretty good. So if Matt Ryan can be smart with the football, I think between Ridley, Pitts, Davis, and Patterson in the backfield, I think they'll be able to be a little bit better offensively in this game. And then with the Giants and I honestly don't know about this one. Because the Giants have weapons. And the Falcons are going to be missing A.J. Terrell, their young cornerback. This is another game that could be a shootout. Not going to lie. There's just something in my head is telling me that Ryan, Ridley, and Pitts start getting it together in this game. And I think the Falcons pull out their first win. Giants go to 0-3. Which if they do, I mean those Giant fans are not going to be happy, of course. And it's probably the hot seat under Daniel Jones might get a little bit hotter. Because I already know there's Giant fans who want to move on from Daniel Jones already. I said before, I think there's definitely a talent there. Just something is holding him back from reaching his full potential. But then looking at the other way, what's stopping the Giants from doing what the Eagles did week 1, where you have a mobile quarterback with a Falcons defense that struggles against pretty much everybody, but really struggles against dual threat quarterbacks. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Falcons on this one. Falcons plus 2.5. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I'll take the Falcons here. All right, next game. Steelers, Bengals. Steelers come into this game minus as a 3-point favorite. Oh, man, this is another one. So initially, I have Steelers minus 3 over the Bengals. The thing that's giving me pause is this was a pec injury from Ben Roethlisberger. Part of me thinks it may be sore, but I don't know if the injury is as bad as some people fear it is, because it does seem like he's going to play. But we do know about Ben. He is a guy who likes to, I guess, kind of play up the whole, tough as nails quarterback, all this kind of stuff. But I have said before, something about the Bengals I kind of like about them. I like how Joe Burrows looked. I like how Jamar Chase has looked. I mean, it looks like T. Higgins isn't going to play. That is a weapon taken away from Joe Burrow. But at least Joe Burrow's healthy. If Big Ben is hurting from this pectoral, how does that affect the passing game? Steelers aren't a team that can just rely on Najee Harris and get wins that way. And the Steelers on defense, TJ Watt is out. Alex Highsmith is out at linebacker. So they have 2 starting linebackers out. Deontay Johnson's out too. Like, I'll say the Steelers find a way. They somehow find a way. Cover the -3. Get a win here. Even though there are some things stacked against them that show a Bengals win here, I'm going to trust my initial reaction. Go Steelers -3. That's one to watch. We'll see come Tuesday, Wednesday how that one turns out. But confidence on that one really low. Let's see. Next game here we have the Cardinals and Jaguars. Cardinals come in 7.5-point favorite. I'm taking the Cardinals here. Not really much needs to be said about this matchup. Jaguars are struggling right now. Trevor Lawrence struggling. Urban Meyer struggling. I mean, Lawrence has thrown 5 interceptions already. Only 4 touchdowns. Even look on the other side, Kyler Murray's thrown 3 interceptions. This isn't great. But he has 7 touchdowns on top of it. -7.5, which should scare some of you with that line. But like I said, Jaguars are just that bad right now that I'm pretty confident that a Cardinals team that, shown the ability to put up points. I mean, the first 2 games, they're averaging 36 points a game. I mean, that's ridiculous. Jaguars are giving up 30 points a game. So, that seems kind of par for the course, and the Jaguars don't score that much. And the way that Lawrence has been turning the ball over, I could see a couple of turnovers here from this Cardinals defense. Yeah. I can't even find anything to try to sway myself to look at the Jaguars in this matchup. So I'm sticking Cardinals -7.5. Think Kyler Murray has a big day, both on the ground. Maybe a rushing touchdown in there for them when they're down in the red zone. But yeah, Cardinals -7.5. Pretty confident in this one. I mean, you could probably say a lock of the week, but yeah, let's just move on. So those are the 1 o'clock games. Now we're on to the 4 o'clock games, it looks like. Yes. So first game, Jets, Broncos. This one, I will say, might surprise some of you. So the Broncos come into this matchup as a 10.5-point favorite. And I got to tell you, I have this weird hunch that the Jets are going to cover here. The plus 10.5. Another one of those games where I could see, Denver winning by 10. But it's the half that's giving me a reason to pick the Jets in this one to cover. Not picking the Jets to win, picking them to cover. I know what you're saying. Zach Wilson threw 4 interceptions last week against New England. What's to say he won't do that again this week against a Broncos team that's got a decent defense? I guess there's no guarantee it won't happen. But, like I said, there's something about this matchup that's, I don't know, it's just making me go Jets here. And I think Wilson, I'm going to go on a limb. I say Zach Wilson actually has a pretty decent game. It's just that Denver's going to have too much defensively. We'll probably get a couple turnovers out of that Jets offense. No Bradley Chubb, which, between Chubb and Von Miller, they're a pretty dynamic duo, so now you have one of them out. But yeah, go Jets plus 10.5. I mean, I could be crazy for picking this, but like I said, something has me thinking Zach Wilson has a bounce back game. Gets a couple of touchdown passes in this one. Broncos still win because I do like what the Broncos are doing with Teddy Two Gloves. Love the nickname. And that defense, even though minus Bradley Chubb, I think they'll still be good enough to get a couple of turnovers. So, taking the Jets plus the 10.5, but obviously expecting them to lose this one. Next game is Vegas Raiders versus the Dolphins. I'm probably going to say that I'm glad that got this one at 3.5 because the news from the Dolphins that they put Tua on IR because of the ribs. So they're going with Jacoby Brissett, who is a capable backup by all means, but it'll probably take him. So Tua's out for the next 3 games because he's been put on IR, short-term IR. Probably not this week, but I can see Brissett looking better next week. And this Raiders team, if there's anything that they've shown through the first 2 games, is that their offense, when clicking, and kind of when they play a little bit more up-tempo, the offense is good enough to put up points against good teams. Dolphins have a decent defense, but with Waller, Ruggs, Renfro, those guys, and Derek Carr having the best start to a season in his career, I think that continues in this matchup. And I'm assuming the Dolphins are going to go pretty conservative with Brissett. Try to go the kind of like the Patriots, long sustained drives, eating up clock. Try to keep Derek Carr on the sideline. Just that I don't know if Brissett will be as effective as Mac Jones has been the first couple of weeks in doing that. So opportunities will be there for the Raiders. And I think the chances that the Dolphins get, like in the red zone and all that, they're going to have to take advantage of. Because I just don't know how many times they will get down in that area with Brissett leading the team, at least in this game. So 3.5, pretty confident in this one for the Raiders. Next game, Rams Buccaneers, probably the game of the week. You know, Stafford versus Brady. Both offenses are pretty stacked. Both defenses are So this is another one, easily could be a shootout. The Bucks come into this one as a 1.5 point favorite. This is another one. Just have a gut feeling on this one. I'm going Rams as the underdog, so plus 1.5 to cover in this game. I know, at least when Brady was with New England going up against the Rams in that Super Bowl, I guess between Brady and McDaniels and all that, they were able to neutralize Aaron Donald. I think we could see something like that in this game. So it's going to come down to which, offensive set do I trust more? You know, Stafford, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, or Brady, Evans, Godwin, Gronk. One of the running backs will probably get going, or they split, whatever. But Fournette, Ronald Jones Jr., and the Rams come into this one with a challenged running game. So Henderson Jr. is questionable. Obviously, if he plays, that would help. If not, it could be a struggle. Bucks won't have Antonio Brown. Learned that earlier today. I think he's in COVID protocol. And then Pierre Paul's out, so that's going to hurt Tampa Bay defensively. key here will be, can the Bucs stop Cooper Kupp? Kupp has seemed like he's Matt Stafford's favorite receiver, at least pushing the ball down the field as well. That's a tough one. I'm gonna stick Rams plus the 1.5 on that one. All right, down to the final 3 games here. So we have Seahawks, Vikings. I'm going to go with the Seahawks as a 2-point favorite in this game. Let's see. What's my reason behind that? I think it's mainly due to the fact that Minnesota hasn't looked that great at all. I think for Minnesota... Well, okay, so I wonder with Minnesota, that Arizona game, is that going to have a long-lasting effect on this team? Are they going to be able to turn around, bounce back this very next week? If you don't remember that game, see the Vikings got the ball, chance to win the game, drove down the field, got within field goal range, and then the kicker just pushed it wide right. They lose, Cardinals win, and now I wonder, psychologically, how is this team going to look? Is it something where if they get down early, some of that Arizona, what happened in that game creep in? Does it start going sideways? Is this going to end up being like a really down year for the Vikings? I mean, Kirk Cousins has 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's kind of the guy he is, though. Cook is questionable. I had to look that up real quick. So Cook is questionable, which means if he plays, he could be a little limited. And if he is, I'm fully expecting the Seahawks to take full advantage of that. And as I said on here before, I very rarely will bet against Russell Wilson. And I think in this game, I think he has a big game. Don't be surprised if you see, one of those long touchdown passes to Tyler Lockett, like a 35, 40-yarder, maybe even more. Who knows? And see, a running back was Chris Carson. He's a good compliment in that offense with Russell Wilson. So, so ultimately, I just think offensively, Russell Wilson and those guys will just be too much of the Vikings to handle. And with the Vikings offense not really being high-powered, I just think that they fall behind and aren't ever really able to get over the hump and get a lead. If they do get a lead late, I'm sure that Arizona stuff's going to creep in. But yeah, I'm not betting against Russell Wilson here. So give me the Seahawks -2 over the Vikings. All right, final 2 games here. We have the Sunday night game, Green Bay against San Francisco. Another pretty good game if you're looking at it on paper. Got Rodgers. They got the win against Detroit. What does that mean in this one? Does it carry over? Do they just revert back to how they looked the first week? Really struggling offensively. Oh, man. So San Francisco comes into this one as a 3-point favorite. The pause there was, I wonder. These are 2 teams that are, through the first 2 games, are just really Jekyll and Hyde on this one. So, will the Niners implement the 2-quarterback system again? Will we see a little bit of Garoppolo, a little bit of Trey Lance? Did Green Bay, after the Lions game, did something click? And now the offense is what most of us think it is. Well, actually, I don't really know what most of us think about Green Bay's offense. I mean, to me, Rodgers is what he is. He'll have some games where he's on fire and puts up big numbers. He'll have other games where it seems like he's struggling. Oh, this one's tough. Garoppolo and Lance. Just like George Kittle. You got Rodgers. You got Devontae Adams. I think I've seen a lot of places. A lot of people are going 49ers on this one. I guess they don't, they're not willing to believe in Green Bay after just last week. I'm right there in that boat, but I could kind of say the same thing about San Francisco. I'm not buying into them yet. Yeah, I'm still with Green Bay on this one. Give me Green Bay +3. Confidence level low, but if Aaron Rodgers is as great as some of these people are saying he is, this is a game I think they have to get, because they have to beat some good team at this point. And maybe, because Garoppolo did struggle last week, so I think because of that, it's going to force force San Francisco to play Trey Lance in this one. Where is this game? It's in San Francisco. If it was in Green Bay, I probably would have felt much better about going Green Bay. In San Francisco, yeah, give me Green Bay the +3. I think Devontae Adams finds the end zone. I think Rodgers has a performance kind of like the Detroit Lion game instead of the Saints game week 1? Yeah. So, yeah, give me Green Bay +3. All right, final game of the week, which is on Monday night. The annual Eagles-Cowboys game. Every year one of those games is going to be on Monday night. So we have this one, the first matchup between the two. Battle of young quarterbacks, you could say. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has Philly. I guess Philly's gotten off to a better start than some might have expected because of Jalen Hurts. We got Devontae Smith for the Eagles, who clearly looks like Hurts' favorite target. Dallas's defense, I feel like they're probably middle of the road in pass defense and rush defense. Both teams are a little bit banged up. This is going to be an interesting one. But what do I have? Yeah, I have the Cowboys -3.5. I don't know. I just think this is another one I could go either way on, but I just think, Dak Prescott probably looks to put on a show. Ezekiel Elliott will look to put on a show. I think the Elliott, Tony Pollard dynamic, I think is going to work for Dallas going forward. I think between the two of those, you can get enough production to take pressure off of Dak Prescott, which is the most important thing right now. Because if you're going to have him go out there and throw 50, 55 passes a game, sorry to say, but I think the Cowboys will most likely probably miss the playoffs going that way. But if they can get Elliott, Pollard going and rely on those two, that way you can help keep Prescott preserved throughout the year. I mean, it is the first couple of games back from the injury from last year. So I'm expecting that it's going to be a point where he may hit a little wall. But yeah, if they can fall back on Elliott and Tony Pollard, then they'll be fine. For the Eagles, I guess the key's going to be Hurts making plays with his arm and his leg, but looking to push the ball downfield with Devontae Smith. And I think this is one where if the Eagles can keep it close late, then I could see them pulling this one out. But I mean, I don't know. Monday night down in Jerry's World, I think the team's going to be hyped up. And I think they get the win. I think the Cowboys go 2-1 in this one. And then the Eagles fall to 1-2. But with that, give me Cowboys minus the 3.5. You know, I sort of between these two matchups are always pretty tight. So the 3.5, a little tough. Because I could easily see late field goal either way, winning this one. But yeah, give me the Cowboys minus 3.5. So there you are. That's the last game of the week. And so that's the slate there. Like I said, I already picked the Thursday game. We'll reveal how that went Tuesday, Wednesday. Same thing with the rest of these picks. Like I said, keep a close eye on the underdogs here because so far my underdog picks have been doing really well. So remember, it was Bears covering against the Browns, Falcons covering against the Giants, Rams covering against the Bucks, Jets covering against the Broncos, and Packers covering against the Niners. Those are the underdog picks I had, so pay extra special attention to those and see how those do. But yeah, so with that, I hope you guys are ready for another Sunday filled with great football action. Great matchups, I will say. Yeah, for the most part, each matchup is pretty good. Yeah, none of them are really snooze worthy. Maybe Jets Broncos, only because that could get, if Zach Wilson plays like he did last week, that could get ugly quickly. But yeah, I'm feeling, well, Cardinals Jaguars, same thing. But most part, I can see a pretty competitive Sunday, and then being capped off with a competitive Monday game. So yeah, whatever snack you want, whatever drink you got, sit down and watch whatever game. Watch your favorite team. Pull a second screen, watch another game. Have at it. But yeah, with that, appreciate you listening, through all of that. For those of you who are new, hopefully you learned something or whatever. Maybe take some of these picks. Go ahead, try to take advantage of them. Win a pool or something. Knock yourself out. But after the first 2 weeks, doing a pretty decent job giving you winners. So hopefully it continues in this one. But thanks again. Hope you enjoyed it. I mean, if you did, wherever you're listening, because it is available pretty much everywhere at this point, as well as on YouTube. It's not a video podcast yet. Still working towards that. You still get the audio version there. But you do get a video of it. So if you prefer that. If you do, subscribe to the channel. Be great. But whatever platform you listen to this, where you listen to the other podcasts, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way, whenever I do drop a new episode, you'll know right away. And then you can hit me up on Twitter at Chompin' Podcast. Interact that way. And, give me a follow there. Because I do tweet during football games. I do watch Patriots every week, so tweet during that game. In the Atlanta area, so I watch the Falcons game, tweet during that game. But we'll have some other games going as the day's going by, so probably tweet about other games as well. So, if you want to jump in, tweet back and forth, do that. Send me some questions, whatever. That's the best place to get in touch. So follow me on Twitter at Chompin' Podcast. But yeah, hopefully do well this week. And then going forward, going to touch on MLB. Probably the next episode. Because the MLB season's coming out to the end. We'll look at the playoff push there. See which races are still yet to be decided. And Also look at the MVP race in both the American League and National League, because I do have something to say about that, because I've been hearing some names thrown around that I just don't get why they're thrown around. And I think it leads to an overall question about baseball and their awards, but you know, you have to tune in for that episode to hear all that. And then what else? Like I said, we'll have the review week 3 early next week, and then we'll touch on some other stuff. Maybe some WNBA, maybe U.S. men's national team, because they are about to embark on the next window of games in World Cup qualifying. So we can talk about them, but we'll see. We'll see where it takes us. But definitely, once again, thanks for tuning in. If you did enjoy it, tell somebody else about it. Try to grow this audience, community, whatever. But be safe out there. Have a good one. God bless. I'll catch you next episode. All right, I'm out.